Right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into Psalm 80
Okay.
from the New Living Translation.
Okay.
And it's interesting because, it's not just a reading. It says right at the top, a psalm of Asaph to be sung to the tune, Lilies of the Covenant.
Interesting.
So right away, you get this sense that it wasn't just something that you read. It was a prayer that was meant to be felt and shared and experienced by people together.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting how that, just that note about it being sung kind of signals the emotional intensity of this prayer right from the start.
Totally.
And that communal aspect of it.
It's not private.
Yeah.
This is a communal prayer.
Yeah.
And it opens up so directly, too. It says, please listen, O shepherd of Israel, you who lead Joseph's descendants like a flock.
Yeah.
And that shepherd image, that's just so fundamental, right? Like when you think about it, it speaks of care and leadership guidance.
Absolutely.
But then you notice how it immediately grounds the prayer in a specific group, right?
Yeah.
Joseph's descendants.
Right. Which is further pinpointed as we go through the song to Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh.
Oh, wow.
So this tribal focus, it likely points to a particular moment in their history when these groups felt especially vulnerable.
Right.
Maybe they were under attack, maybe there was famine, who knows. But something was going on where they were like, we need some divine intervention.
Yeah.
And then there's this incredible image of God enthroned above the cherubim.
Oh, yeah.
Which, signifies God's holy presence and supreme power.
It's powerful imagery.
It is, and it emphasizes the magnitude of the plea that they're making.
Yeah.
And we hear that repeated cry over and over again. Turn us again to yourself, O God. Make your face shine down upon us. Only then will we be saved.
It's so striking how much repetition there is in this psalm. It really drives home their just desperate need for divine favor and, and restoration of a relationship.
Yeah, it's not subtle.
No.
They're not beating around the bush.
No, they're very direct. It's very direct. And the tone shifts a little bit.
Yeah.
As we get into verse 4, O Lord God of heaven's armies, how long will you be angry with our prayers?
Yeah, you really feel the weight of those unanswered prayers, right? There's this real sense of abandonment almost.
Yeah, they've been praying and praying and praying.
And no answer.
And nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And the suffering that they describe is so visceral.
Yeah, it's brutal.
You have fed us with sorrow and made us drink tears by the bucketful.
Yeah.
It's a stark picture of hardship and the consequence of all this. You have made us the scorn of neighboring nations. Our enemies treat us as a joke.
It's interesting that some of the ancient Syriac versions actually offer a slightly different reading of verse 6.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting how even back then, the interpretations of this psalm varied a little bit, which suggests its continued importance, across different communities and time periods.
And so that feeling of being outcast that fuels the renewed plea in verse 7.
Yeah.
Echoing the opening verses. It's like a cycle of despair, but a clinging to hope.
Definitely.
So let's delve into the central powerful image here.
Okay.
The grapevine. You brought us from Egypt like a grapevine.
Yeah.
Why this particular image?
Well, the grapevine is a deeply resonant symbol for Israel throughout the Old Testament. It represents fruitfulness.
Yeah.
God's deliberate planting and nurturing of his people.
Right.
And, it represents the potential for thriving, in the promised land.
And that's what we see in the psalm, right? This
Yeah.
initial picture is one of incredible success. God drove away the pagan nations and transplanted us, cleared the ground, the vine took root and filled the land.
Yeah.
Its shade-covered mountains, its branches stretched all the way from the Mediterranean Sea to the Euphrates River. This just paints this vivid picture, a golden age,
right?
A time of security and influence.
And it makes the contrast that comes later all the more devastating. It underscores how much they've lost. Verse 12, but now why have you broken down our walls so that all who pass by may steal our fruit? The vulnerability is palpable. You can just feel it.
Yeah.
And this flourishing that they described earlier has been replaced with destruction. The wild boar from the forest devours it, and the wild animals feed on it.
That image of wild animals tearing apart the vine, it's brutal.
It is.
And then comes this just heart-wrenching cry. Come back, we beg you, O God of heaven's armies. Look down from heaven and see our plight. Take care of this grapevine that you yourself have planted, this son you have raised for yourself.
Oh, wow. It's so interesting how they shift there from grapevine to son,
right?
Highlighting a more intimate familial bond.
And the consequence of their current state.
Yeah.
For we are chopped up and burned by our enemies. May they perish at the sight of your frown.
Wow, that's raw emotion right there.
It's powerful. And then you get to the final verses, and there's this glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
Strengthen the man you love, the son of your choice. And while we don't know for sure who this refers to historically, it's a clear request for strong leadership.
In restoration.
And they promise in response, and we will never abandon you again. Revive us so we can call on your name once more. It's almost like they're recognizing their own, their dependence on God's favor.
Totally.
Yeah. Making a commitment,
Yeah.
to loyalty if they're restored.
And then the psalm concludes with that familiar refrain, just this final desperate plea for restoration and salvation.
Yeah.
So what would you say is like the core message, the core emotion that Psalm 80 is conveying?
Well, ultimately, I think Psalm 80 is a powerful expression of lament over loss and a passionate plea for divine intervention.
Yeah.
That central metaphor of the grapevine that was once flourishing and now it's ravaged,
Right.
It just so poignantly illustrates their brokenness and
Yeah.
their deep yearning for a renewed relationship with God.
It really makes you think about how that experience that they're going through, it's such a timeless human experience
Yes.
of seeking help and understanding during difficult times.
Absolutely. And it's amazing how, an ancient text like this can still speak to those feelings today.
Totally. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, like, what's a modern vineyard that might be going through something similar?
Okay.
And I thought about maybe a community facing like an economic collapse,
Right.
where their main industry has just been decimated or something. And the kind of restoration they might seek is, maybe revitalization through new industries,
Yeah.
and a renewed sense of hope.
That's a good point. It's like it prompts us to reflect on those fundamental human cries for help and how they transcend time
Absolutely.
and place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, I love this song.
It's powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time.